Hello and welcome to another update video about Ethereum. Ethereum continues to move sort of sideways here. Unfortunately, it broke out of this channel to the downside. We obviously had some, concerning news from Poland here today. So this is obviously not a political channel, but obviously it did lead to a little bit of a red candle here. Nothing too bearish here at the moment. Markets, I think, are still sort of waiting what the news are going to be like and the development. But still, it pushed Ethereum out of the channel to the downside. That is not yet a reason for concern in terms of threatening here the potential bullish scenario that we have on the chart here, where we could focus on higher carefully. But it's obviously not ideal. Yeah, it's not ideal. And it further messes around with the chart here. For me, the bullish scenario continues to have a chance here. Yeah, and this is still the support area, which we reached already once, twice, here 3 to 4 times actually. And whenever we hit it, we bounced off. This is the area between 11.30 and 12.10. And it is based on the Fib levels of that wave 1 in red. Here, let me just need to do that a bit more accurately. Here you go. So between the 78.6% Fib level and the 50% Fib level. So this means there is a chance that we are indeed in this red 5-wave move to the upside. So it's actually a bullish wave pattern. Had a few questions, why am I so bullish and so on and so on. I am not so bullish. We can only always react to the market, right? So obviously the market decides here what's going on. We can only react and measure our risk and reward in the present. So in the present, we can't really look into the future. But the wave pattern here looks quite good. And it is entirely possible that this is a so-called 1-2 setup. This remains valid and which would lead to a wave 3 into the region around $3,000. And this remains valid as long as we stay above $1,000. I mean, even below that level, it's technically not invalidated, but below the $1,000 level, it's probably not going to work out anymore. So it will only get officially invalidated below $880. But I think if we drop below $1,000, it's not going to work out anymore, which means that ideally Ethereum doesn't put a new low in. If it goes below the low now of the 9th of November, which was here in 1070, 1075, right? Then this bullish scenario seriously gets challenged. Yeah, it seriously will get challenged, and it's really at I wouldn't call it a make or break point, but it's really at a key decision point here at the moment. So ideally it starts to rally now, yeah, in this red wave count. Otherwise it's most likely going to roll over. And if we then retest 1130 and lose 1130, then we're probably going to come down to 1075 and we'll lose that. So I don't really have a bias here. It's an objective analysis based on the wave count, the wave pattern. Of course, a bearish interpretation is possible. But for me, it will only, get in control below $1,000. So it really is at let's say a decision point here now. And the point that I always try to make is, we don't try to look into the future here. But what the Elliott Waves allow us to understand is low risk, high reward trade setups. And this is one here, a 1-2 setup, where the wave 3 could take us into the region around, what did we say before? Let me just measure that roughly. Here, 1600, 1620, right? So this is certainly a possible trade setup here, and actually not a bad one, because the risk is quite low, because the stop loss can be set quite tight, okay? And that's eventually what trading is about, right? So we don't try to look into the future. Of course, Elliott Waves have a predictive element, because you analyze the chart based on price structures and fractals, and you normally get an idea of, if a fractal or a price structure works out normally in a bullish way, it will normally, ideally work out the same way in the future. So that's where the predictive element comes in. But overall, the Elliott Waves are, for me, the best method to identify low risk, high reward trade setups, and it has worked really well on the way up here, and it has worked really well on the way down here, and it has worked really well on the way up here. Yeah, so anybody who's been with us here knows that. And we have here another chance, right? So we have another chance, and all of these scenarios were, and I'm not always bullish, absolutely not, because from up here, yeah, we very clearly said, I mean, this was a short signal up here, and there was one here as well, and there was one here as well. No, I'm not always bullish. This was, even though we were embedded in a larger bullish context, the view was that we're going to come down into this area, and we already talked about that back in August, right? Because this would be a 1-2 setup. That was always the plan. And yeah, of course this can fail, and then we get into a bearish scenario, which doesn't mean the overall assumption was wrong. Well, it was wrong in the end, but you can still use this assumption for trading. And of course we didn't hit all trade reversal areas, and for example this here was missed by like $30, but all in all I think it's gone really well. So I'm looking at this as a potential bullish breakout pattern here, and again we can just focus on that strategically as long as it's valid, and it's valid as long as we stay above, well, here in the very short term, as long as we stay above 1210, and if we lose that, we've got the higher level pattern as long as we stay above 1170, and then here as long as we stay above 1075. But below that level, well, it's getting really, really challenging. Now in the very short term here, we can look at this as a 1-2 setup, and then the wave 3 to the upside target I gave you. But within the wave 3 in red, we've got the yellow count, and here this has a chance to be a wave 1, then here the wave 2, but we would need to move up in a wave 3. Problem that this is quite a choppy price action, choppy price action. So I had a few comments about that, and that's true. So I'm just thinking at the moment, do we actually get an extended wave 2? Yeah, do we get an extended wave 2? Is this still the wave 2? Let me just take that out. Because whenever, normally a wave 3 should be a very bullish wave. Now if you don't see that, it means that, okay, either we are really in a bearish pattern, or the wave 2 wasn't in yet. Yeah, so the low wasn't in yet, and that what I labeled here as ABC is actually only an A wave. This here is a wave B, and we come down now quite strongly in a wave C. And that's all fine as long as we stay above 1170. So it could very well be we hit here this yellow support area again before we start to move up and move then up in a wave 3. Yeah, but this is, again, it's a possible trade setup, and this was quite a choppy price action to the upside, and it was not really bullish. It didn't really look like a wave 3. Now, alternatively, we have here another 1-2 setup, 1-2, but also this would be, let's say, bullish, again, as long as we're holding overall the yellow support box here. And key resistance, I can also put the resistance area on the chart here. It's very well defined here. It's basically starting at around 12, we'd say here at around 1270. Yeah, that's where resistance starts. And it goes up, yeah, I would say all the way to 1290. So this is the resistance area. We need to get above that area to really push higher here. It's not a clearly defined level, it's more a range. Okay, and that's my update about Ethereum. I hope you liked the update. If you did, please hit the like button, leave a comment and subscribe. And if you really like the content, then please check out the channel membership. Thanks a lot for watching. Bye bye.